Matt, you are here to talk about Power Apps, right?
Yeah, Power Apps, Power Automate, the whole Power ecosystem,
All
more or
right,
less.
you have 30 minutes to convince me.
All right, 30 minutes. I'll do it, Sam. I
Let's,
gotcha.
let's
All
get
right,
it.
here we go.
Yep,
All
all
right, so Sam said I'm Matt Sokup. I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft. I want to talk a little bit about powering up your development with Power Apps and Power Automate. And so you don't really think about being a what I'll call a professional developer, so a developer who does like .NET for their day job. You don't think about Power Automate and Power Apps every day, a lot, maybe ever. But you should. And we'll go through and I'll show you why. All right. So first off, when we talk about Power Automate or Power Apps, we kind of talk about low code development, right? So what is this low code development? Well, it allows you to solve some complex business problems, but without writing a ton of code. All right. So okay. So you have a Power Apps in your mind, right? You're dragging and dropping controls onto the screen and but you're not writing any code at all, you might be thinking. But that's not exactly correct. You're still writing code. So, and I'll show you what we're going to be talking about. So you're going to be writing some code here. And so we're going to be talking about in the course of this is Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, which is super cool. It's a chatbot type framework, and also Azure Logic Apps. It also gets into the game here in its low code development. All right. So first off, do .NET devs need to know low code development? Yep. Yes, you do. Absolutely. Because actually this slide is wrong. Let me change this up real quick because it's fun. Here we go. All right. Yep, because it's fun. You should definitely need to know low code development. And so one of the reasons I is Power Apps is great for business professionals or citizen developers, people who aren't doing um, development for their day job. It's great for them to be developing apps that suit their needs. And a great way to help people out is to be, I guess, what I'm going to call empathetic development. So if you know Power Apps, you're going to be great support system for them too, for the business professionals, for them using the low code. So that's one great reason to know it, other than it's fun. Another reason to know it as a high code or a professional code developer is that Power Apps is a really, really cool way to replace old legacy systems. So a lot of times we're going to have legacy systems like sitting around there like 10, 15 years old that are well beyond end of life support for anything. And they're just kind of like forms over data. I'll show you how we can really build up a Power App Canvas app super, super quick that just kind of covers all the bases. And it's like it's a website. It runs obviously on the web, then it runs on the phone, runs on a tablet. And it's a really nice, powerful way to replace like some legacy systems that you don't really want to maintain anymore. And you shouldn't if they're like beyond end of life. Um, Automate everyday tasks. And that's the first demo we'll take a peek at is that if I find myself doing anything more than once or twice, I'm going to look to see if I can automate it in some way using Power Automate, using a ton of different connectors. And so let's talk about what these connectors are first. And so here I just downloaded a bunch of logos right off the documentation site. And these are the connectors. These are all different applications that connect into either Power Apps or Power Automate. And what they do is that, like, I think like Dropbox is here. And so what it is that it gives you the power of Dropbox, but into your Power application, your Power App or Power Automate. So all you're doing is really you're just setting up your credentials and then you're able to do certain Dropboxy type things. And so you have like Azure SQL in there. You're going to have like storage. You're going to have a ton of Office M365 connectors, tons. This only goes up to the F, A through F in the connectors from the documentation. There's a whole lot more there. So there's a ton of different things you can do. They're connectors, and you just hook them in, and everything's taken care of for you. So a lot of this is where we're going to get to the low code part of things, and that people have already given you a couple starting steps to get going. All right, so let's just take a look at using some of these connectors and making our life a little bit easier here with Power Automate. All right. So let's imagine here that I actually have this set up in a different way. Being a cloud advocate, people actually, they want some content created sometimes. And so what I have a form set up where people can ask me or my team for some new content. So now imagine where you're doing something with your team at work where somebody can come and say, you know what, I need an existing app or a new app created and what it's looking to do. So we just would say, this should do something cool like that, submit it, and then ideally it would do something cool. So this is a Microsoft Office Forms app. And right now, it really just kind of puts it into more or less an Excel spreadsheet on the back end. What we're going to do, though, is that we're going to create a new flow or a Power App flow to write it to Azure DevOps. And we'll write it to Teams as well. And we can actually have it send an email too. So we'll just create a new one out here. I'll call it a instant cloud flow. And I'm going to skip this part so we can create it all from scratch. And so we get into this. And when I click down here, these are all the connectors that are available to me. Just a ton. MailChimp, here's Power BI, Gmail, Teams, they're all here. So I'm going to pick Microsoft Forms. And all right, do not show that again. And so what it's going to say is just, you know what? Let's create a new, when that comes in, when a new form response is submitted, I want to pick my form. I'm going to pick this first one here and then add a new step. So you can see I'm just kind of going out over and over and just kind of picking up visually what I want to do. So my next step is going to be, again, a Microsoft Forms. And this next action, it's not a trigger, rather it's an action, is I want to get the response details. So again, I'm just going to pick up the form ID. And then this response ID that comes in is coming from this new response submitted. Have that come in. And now what I'm going to do, let's just do some Azure DevOps here. I'm going to have it create a work item for me. So let's just say work item. So create a new work item. And the name of my organization, we'll do, that's my personal one. The project name, .NET Conf Power. My work item type, let's create a new task. The title, which is neat, what I'll just do is existing or new app request. So this all came in from the response details, which is neat. So I'm going to say what we're looking for to do, whether it's an existing or new app, and also who submitted it. And then I'll just say person's email address is looking to do. It's not that one. What I want to do is what are they looking at for? So it's like this visual way of me putting everything together. And then I can even go down and give it additional things. And I'm just going to assign this to me. It's just MASOUCU. Just like that. And there we go. And that's all I really have to do something like that. And I could actually go like this, add a parallel branch, and then just let's say Teams. And then I'll do a thing for chat. That's what I'm going to look for. Post the message team, Flowbot, post in chat with Flowbot. So I'll just have this bot saying that. And let's see, I want to post it the meme. And then I'm just going to say, hey, Matt, a new app waiting. So all I'm doing really is just automating all this for me so it works whenever a new form is submitted. And so what I'm going to do is I can test it right from here as well. So I'm just going to hit test manual. And now it's waiting for me to actually submit one. So we'll just say new. This is our test. Submit it. I'll go back over here and we see it's thinking about it, and it went through. And we can actually see what came in and what's being posted out. So if I go to my DevOps and I refresh it, I can see I have a new app request that's assigned to me and everything. So now I've actually power automated or automated something that, you know what, instead of having somebody email me or somebody come and try to talk to me, they can just go through that form and do this. And it automatically goes through everything. You can see here it's in Teams as well. So that's pretty neat. And with all those connectors, I'm sure you can just imagine everything else that you can put together. That's super, super quick. So the next thing I wanted to talk about though is after the automation of everything. A thing that really helps out with the, I guess, the pro devs is maintaining legacy apps. And we always kind of want to, well, maintaining's the pain. If we could rewrite them, it's even better. And so here comes Power Apps. Now, I'll admit the first time I got introduced to Power Apps, it was from my buddy Pierce. And I was doubtful about it. I go, Pierce, it's not going to work. But I'm a believer now. And so here we go. So what I have a SQL server in the back end. So here's what the app's going to do. It's going to be, imagine that your company is like a heating and air conditioning company where you have field techs out in the field and they have parts on the truck. And if they don't have the part on the truck, they have to check whether it's in the warehouse or not. So they call somebody in the office. So we want to automate that. So the person, both it's a legacy app, they like that old website. So person in the office doesn't want to use it anymore. They want to have the person in the field check it for themselves. Let's just make it nice for them. So we have a product table in SQL Server. So let's just quickly automate that, not automate it, build a new one. So we'll go to SQL Server here. And what's nice is Power Apps gives us a way to scaffold out an application just from a table. So I've already created a brand new connection here, and it's called from my SQL Server, MA, or it's my how I'm connected here. So let me go and grab what the SQL Server's name is, and that's going to be over here. Dashboard. And SQL, there we go. And this way I can just copy that in. So all I'm doing is I'm setting up which SQL server I want to connect to. So that's my SQL server name and database. And then it's going to pull up the tables and ask me which one I want to connect to. So it's pulling in. I see products. That's the name of my table, the only one I have in there. So it just says product name and the quantity available. Pretty simple for now, but you could do much more powerful things, but it's just a demo here. All right, so here's the first cool things. I do have 3 rows in there, and it pulled back all 3 items for me right away. So I'm actually seeing the app being created as we go. So I'm just going to change the title of this to products. And I have this gallery in here. Gallery is nothing more than like a list view, but I can change the way it looks too on the fly. So I'm going to say it's going to have a title and subview there. So it just says coil and coil, but I'll change the subtitle to inventory remaining. So, and just go. And so what's neat, you can see I'm just putting this all together on the fly. So coil, filter, and thermostat, there's 2 thermostats remaining. I can go in and actually view the details here. So it's worth noting that I'm still like in my IDE, in my development mode, and I'm jumping back and forth and like using the real data in the real app. And so the development experience is super quick here. And so what I want to have here, I'm going to say browse gallery 1, because that's the gallery we had before, selected being what we selected, dot. And you notice it pops up our IntelliSense knows what we had popped up. So I'm going to say product name, and that just says thermostat on the top there. So that's pretty neat. So then I can go to coil, and it says coil up there as well. All right. So let's say I'm in the truck and I notice there's only 2 thermostats remaining back in the warehouse. So one thing I'm going to want to do is probably at some point want to order some more. And so here's an interesting part now. And how do we have that where Um, we can get a Power App to interface with something like Ordering More, which would be like a third-party vendor or something like that. So that's where we start talking about this concept called fusion development. So what fusion development is that you have people from across your organization. You have IT people, you'll have developer folks, you'll have people in the business working together. And so that's not too different of what a normal development process is, except the difference though being is that the applicate or the business professionals, they'll probably actually to be developing the front end of the application because that's their expertise, that's their business expertise, and Power Apps enables them to do so. And what that enables you as a .NET developer, as the business or as the professional developer to do, it allows you to really concentrate on the pro code side of things, like the web APIs and such, and interfacing with third-party services, the more complex type work. And so in this case, what we're going to talk about then is like interfacing with a third-party system so we can place orders right away from that Power App. And so what this all does is that we have people across all the organization working together, everybody kind of doing some sort of development work together. So it's like this fusion development team is this whole new concept of development. And what that leads to is tech intensity. And so what that means is that we have the ability then to have technology adopted. And I'm talking technology adopted, like your Power App here is this, like our new inventory app is going to be able to be adopted across the org quicker, right? So we have people out in the field be able to check the inventory instead of having to call back to the office and say, how much is in the warehouse. They're going to be able to actually do their job quicker. The technology is empowering them, increasing their individuals' capabilities, and the organization is going to be able to trust everybody and trust the apps, and everything just starts rolling around. It's this virtuous cycle that keeps on going on, and so that really just ups the tech intensity and helps everybody be more productive. So let's talk about how we're going to do this then. A high code to a low code flow then. So how the us professional developers are going to make some code available in the form of a web API available to a low code Power App. We're going to write an Azure HTTP triggered function. What we're going to do with that, though, is that there is a brand new Open API Azure function extension that just hit GA along with .NET 6 on Monday. So we're going to use that to create an Open API document for that Azure function. Cool. We're going to deploy that to an Azure Functions app. We're going to deploy that then to Azure API management so we can control the whole thing and have a nice little management surface for that. Then here's what's cool. I was talking about all the connectors before. We're going to create a custom connector. We're going to create our own type of connector that we can actually put in then to Power Apps to use. And then we're going to use it. We're going to put it into the Power App. So not only do we have all these third parties doing their own connectors, we can do our own connector as well. So let's see how it works. All right, so let's actually go over here. This is VS 2022, and I'm just going to go ahead and create a brand new project. And it's going to be a function. And then make sure I click next. We'll just give it the same name. Keep it easy. And then here's the key. There's a template on here called HTTP trigger with Open API. That's the key for the whole thing here. Well, it keeps it easy. We could use the other one, but this one gives us everything we need straight away. I'm going to keep the authorization level on anonymous for now, and then create it. And this is going to scaffold out everything that I need, including downloading a NuGet package that I need as well. So the NuGet package is called this right here, webjobs.extensions.openapi. And then all I need to do here is it gives me a bunch of attributes. Now, this first one will just is for the Azure Functions runtime. So we'll call that order parts. Everything here, though, that says Open API, that's going to be able to create the Open API document. So let's call the operation, we'll just call that order parts. Give it a tag of order parts. The parameter to describe what's coming into it, we will call that the name of it. How about part name? That makes sense. And we'll make this so we can all see it. And then we'll just do the part name parameter. Cool. All right, then in the response to describe what's coming back, it's going to be application/JSON. And the body type is going to be, oops, let's just do, how about part order? And then I'll have Visual Studio create it for me. Generate class. And then I'll go here so I can create it. So I'm just going to give it a part name and then number ordered. Just kind of echoing it out. Just kind of pretend we're talking to a third-party service to get everything out. And then what I'm going to do here is refactor this to call it part name. Have it carry on from the query string like that, and then get rid of everything here. And then I'm going to do a part order PO equals new, and we'll just do, oops, number order, we'll just say it's 100, and then the part name is equal to part name. So I'm just kind of echoing out and just saying every time it gets called, we're ordering 100 of them. And I'll just do PO here. All right. All this, we're getting 100. So let's run it. And there's one thing I want to show you that's actually kind of cool when we do this. Starts up the local version of it. And you can see here that we actually get a Swagger UI part of it. So let me copy that in, open up a web browser, copy that over there. And actually, from this, all scaffolded out for me, I now have this Swagger test harness that I can use. And it's showing me what I'm going to get back, what the OK response is going to look like, and I can try it out. And let's say I'm going to order a filter, execute it. Boom. Nice. Happens. Filter 100. All right, so now if I wanted to go ahead and deploy it, all I would have to do then is your normal right-click, publish, and then I can go through the targeting Azure and everything else. We don't have a ton of time. We're almost out of time, so we're going to quickly pretend that we did it. And then what I'm going to do then is save this. We'll just call this net demo. And then what happens is it would come out to here. And this is an API management. So it's the same one in here. And it would blink a lot. So let me try that out and go back over here. Good. All right. So this is the same one. It's the order parts API. I've deployed it before. I can go over to test, put in, let's say, filter, hit send, and we can see that it's coming back 100. All right. So a neat thing I can do then is I can say create Power Connector. And what this is going to do for me, it's going to go over to my Power Apps environment and create a connector for me. And so I did this before too, because it takes a while sometimes. And I will jump back out. And underneath here, I have custom connectors. And so what this did then is that it actually now, this is my connector. It's a custom connector. It's connected over to APIM right here, and I can test it. Let's just do filter again. I skipped some steps here in for time wise, like setting up the subscription key and whatnot. But we actually have a pretty good video that I'll link to I'll give Sam the link to in the show notes here. But that shows all that. But here we go. Part name filter, quantity ordered 100. All right, let's update the app so that has it. Net demo. Here we go. That was running it. Let's edit it. Loading, loading, loading. And what's nice here, once I get this going, all I have to do in order to get it on, getting things ready, is I go down here to this little database symbol. I do add data. And underneath my connectors, a lot of them, but here's order parts. I put that in there. Great. Order parts is in there. So let me get my second screen up. Detail screen, order more, on select. What I'll do then, make sure I see it. It's going to be called Azure Functions Open API Extension, just because I named it. Not super great. Here we go. Azure Functions. Look at that. It all comes up. I'll give it a part name, which should be Browse Gallery 1. It's nice as all that IntelliSense comes up for me. Product name, like so. So that's all I need to do in order to make it work. But what I'm going to do is get the data coming back from it. Let's say part result. What I'm doing here is I'm just grabbing the result or grabbing the return, putting it into this part result collection, and then I am going to insert a label, take this label down, and for the text, I'm going to say first part result dot part name and ordered first. We just copy it over. Quantity ordered, like so. We run it. Coil ordered 100. Super neat. And now it's complaining that that's just something I have in my tenant that I have to save with. But there we go. Now we have a Power App calling out to our custom connector. We have high code, we have low code, living together, working, happy. All right, so a quick summary. Low code, Power Apps, Power Automate. We could solve complex business problems without writing a ton of code, but we still have to write some, which is cool, which is actually really great. The whole thing is a lot of fun. The whole low code ecosystem, Power Apps, Automate, Power Automate twice because I like it so much. I really wanted to type virtual assistants, and Azure Function Apps is part of it as well. When we start writing the whole high code to low code, what we showed today. Also, you can automate everyday tasks, which is neat, replace legacy systems. And that fusion development teams is really something that I'm excited about overall, where you get the whole organization working together, where people are developing the front ends that really can suit their needs because they're the domain experts. They know exactly what they want, what they need. And professional developers we know how to write the APIs and how to make them secure and how everything works on the back end essentially. And you can provide high code services to low code apps. So right at the bottom there, AKA MS Fusion Dev Path. That's a whole MS Microsoft learning path on the whole Fusion development concept, where we walk you through not only what Fusion development teams are, but also an introduction to Power Apps component framework, where you can actually write your own controls for Power Apps, but also the whole functions, the APIM to creating a custom connector too. So 5-part learning path on that too. So you definitely should check it out. With that, Matt Sokup, Power Apps. Sam, 4 minutes long. Oh,
No,
I missed
you're
it.
good. Well, we gave you we brought you on 2 minutes late, so it's fair. And take a deep breath, because I don't think you have been like breathing for the last 30 minutes.
No, I had to go. Did I convince you?
Yes,
Are you gonna go? All
So,
right.
folks on the Twitch streams are clapping because like that's a lot of stuff to show in 30 minutes. So well done. Well done. And I'm convinced. And, just like you said, like when Piers Bogan, our friend, wants to convince you, he will. And this is amazing stuff. If you look into some of the Teams apps as well, like the connectors are where all the power lies. And it's your call how much code you want to write. Some of it you probably don't want to because it's already done for you. And the connectors give you so much power. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly it. And you can write your own connectors to get to your own data, like we showed at the end. But a lot of times, why do you? If you don't have to, don't.
All right. So. Yeah, and the one thing I was going to ask, or maybe just comment on, you kind of hit a right note there when you talk about like legacy applications. A lot of that stigma of not wanting to touch it comes from, there is knowledge in people's heads, and you don't want to break things because you don't know what it is. Get it out. This is just easy to kind of get that knowledge out into an app and just have it integrated everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of times everything is just kind of like a forms over data. And we took a real easy case here, but Power Apps is a great use case for that, especially when you do have these legacy things, and bring it forward, work with your business team who knows this stuff, and they can get them to help out. Let's get that fusion development thing working where everybody can get going and helping. And all of a sudden, you're going to have a modern app that takes the place of this old creaky thing that's written 10 years 15 years ago. And it's I think it's great.
Well said, well said. I've seen a few comments come along, but back on the Twitter board, I don't know who this person is, but they have us convinced here.
Excited.
Yeah, and a lot of things in the remote world are virtual. Obviously, a lot of speakers from all around the world. This is our good friend Santosh Ari. He's going to be on tomorrow, but he's talking about ironing the shirt. So just like do this part. That's all I did. Just parts that show. Yeah, isn't it fun? But hey, at least we get to hang out virtually and share all this content. So
yeah,
thank you so much, Matt.
You bet, Sam.
This has been great. And folks, if you're just joining us, this is day 3 of .NET Conf. We are going 24 hours nonstop with speakers from all around the world. So much content to share. This is amazing. So Matt, thank you so much. We'll let you go and have fun.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.